All right, I'm really excited to teach you and take you through a journey of real-time ML problems and how to solve them, how to go about approaching them. And today in this video, we are going to talk about first two, understanding the dataset and framing the ML problem. Please understand that the process would be I will explain you the code first and then run the code with you, and then there would be hands-on which you are going to do and make your hands dirty on this code so that you are getting comfortable for the coming set of videos. So again, first explain the code, run the code with you, and then hands-on for you to do it. Now here is the Google Drive link. Please watch the previous set of videos to understand the course content and where are the files and all the necessary information. For your quick reference, this is the link. The link is mentioned in the video description section of the video below. For all practical purposes, I'm going to use Google Colab, but if you want to use Python on your local computer or any other cloud, feel free to do that. Now, when you click on this link, you would reach adapting TensorFlow in the real world, and there would be there would be a data files and then understanding the data. This is your Python notebook, and data files would have the data, all the relevant data, which we will be using as set of these examples. So moving on, let's understand the code. The first set of lines are importing libraries like TensorFlow, Pandas, NumPy, and Matplotlib. Import TensorFlow as TF. TF would be the short abbreviation of TensorFlow, which I can use in my remainder of the code. And you can see here that I am also printing out TF dot double underscore version double underscore, and you can see that we are going to use TensorFlow version 2.x. Don't worry if you have lower version than 2.2, does not matter. As long as it is version 2, you should be good. Next is here, those who are using Colab, this is how you would mount a Google Drive. So the dataset, which I'm going to discuss in few minutes, can be downloaded and uploaded back onto your Google Drive. And then you need to mount this. In order to understand this in detail, there is a video series I created just on Colab and getting started on Colab. The link of the video series is in the video description section as well. So imported the libraries, and next step, mount the libraries. Next step is to understand the data. Please note that the name of the file, which is CSV, we are having yellowcap underscore data.csv in the location which I just described below under data files. So content, drive, my drive, Colab notebooks, data files. You don't need to follow this reference step or path, but if you follow, it will make life easier for you. Now I'm using pandas data frame to read ._csv, and I'm creating a data frame. This is how you would create a data frame in Python. And then df.head, data frame.head. This data frame is a variable. You can write any other name of the variable, and this is a syntax. So df.head would give you first 5, 10, 20 lines to be able to see what all columns and type of data available in your data set, in your data frame. Next, we are going to do a supervised learning model where we are going to understand or predict the fare. So for me, fare becomes my target variable, while all other columns, and not exactly all, but most of other columns would be my features. Giving you an example, if you see I'm using subset of data frame from the original data frame, that means I don't need to have unique columns. If there is a column unique, that means for every row, it is going to be a unique value. So that is not considered as a feature. For example, trip ID, tax ID, or timestamp. Trip timestamp is fine, but a row timestamp may not lead to any direct dependency on fare. So trip ID, taxi ID may not drive the fare. They have not any relation. They are not correlated. There is no correlation between trip ID and tax ID. Therefore, I'm going to run and I'm going to go in detail when we go through the code. And based on that subset, we identified, and I'll show you the process of identifying. We identified few columns. The first fare is my target, and all other columns are my features, predictors. So we made a subset of data frame. Next step, we are going to plot some data. You can see I have plotted trip miles versus fare. So fare on y-axis, trip miles on x-axis, and it's fairly linear. But this may not be linear because there are some outliers here. Don't worry about all this linear and outliers for now, but this is how you will plot. PLT is matplotlib in the libraries we used. Subset trip seconds and subset fare, I am plotting like this. So let's see this basic step, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about hands-on. HW is homework, DIY number 1. So, and then you go back in here, you would see this is the data: trip ID, taxi ID, timestamp, trip seconds, miles, so on and so forth. Let's run the code. So I'm going to run this, and this is the first import statement. So before we begin, I'm sorry, I should have done that. Go to runtime, go to change runtime settings. Make sure you have GPU. You don't need TPUs per se, but if you need TPUs, you can always enable it. Click on save, and it's going to restart the runtime over here. The small nitty-gritty details about Colab is mentioned in a different series, and the link to the series in the video description section. So this is started, and before you run this, also what you can do is you can clear the outputs. So I say clear all outputs so that you just see the code. Again, I'm going to run this, and you can see 2.20, and I'm going to do this. So it asks you to click on this and authenticate. Just click on the browser, it will ask you some questions, and then say allow, and then you will reach to this code. I've shown you this in the different series. Now this is the data frame. I'm reading this data from the yellow cab. Now execute this cell, and you would see the head, top 5 records starting from 0 to 4, trip ID. Now here what I would see is that you have a lot of zeros and all those things. Payment type is cash and credit, so I don't need to use this because payment type necessarily does not drive the fare. If I pay by cash and or credit card, the fare would remain the same. So you have to go to each and every column and understand if this column could impact the fare or not. That's how you select the subset. I repeat one more time. You would need a little bit of business understanding, and this dataset is Chicago dataset. I have downloaded this Chicago datasets from the taxi cab, yellow cab website, and they allow us to download. I have downloaded like 10 MBs, almost 15,000 records. And then with a little bit of common sense, but if you're doing in your real-time business world, you would need to sit with a business analyst and understand which column impacts your output. So I'm just looking at fare because I cannot predict tips, right? I cannot predict tolls. If I mean, of course, tolls can be predicted, but extras, I mean, if an Uber or a yellow cab driver buys a bottle of water for the passenger, I may not be able to predict that. So that's why I'm just focusing on predicting fare, and all of these do not impact fare. So fare for a ride. So this is a subset. So trip seconds, yes, it impacts the fares. Miles, yes. Pickup, latitude, longitude, and drop off, latitude, longitude, latitude, depending upon if you're going through the downtown or outside the downtown area, it does make an impact. So I selected these columns, and I said describe again for this. Now describe command subset.describe would give you count, mean, standard deviation, minimum 25 percentile. This is a good way of looking at it. And if you look at it, the data set is good because it starts from the latitude around 41.6, ending at 41.42, and then drop off also in the same range. So this is Chicago. If you look at latitude, longitude, you would find Chicago, US. Next, I am going to plot the data set subset underscore df trip miles and plot. I'm using the scatter plot, and you would see the linear, and this plot is against trip seconds, and it may or may not be linear. It's going something like here, but for now this is just the understanding of data set. I hope this is clear, and in the next step, which is the hands-on. So hands-on, download the yellow cab underscore data.csv file from this URL and try opening the file and understand the data and the available columns. On your Google Drive, upload this CSV to a location, preferably this, but it's not mandatory. If you are using your Python on your laptop, it's not mandatory to have this location. You can change the path. Then you can refer to the code in this notebook, understanding the data -diy1, and make a copy of this code because you may not be able to change it. So make a copy of the code and then execute it. And import Python libraries, plot the graphs as discussed earlier. So this is your framing the ML problem. Here we are going to predict the fare of yellow cab taxis in Chicago area. Thank you for watching.